Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a beautiful and really moving story called The Angel and the Withered Flower. It seems like a simple little tale, but it asks a huge question. How do we figure out what something is truly worth? Let's get into it.
Right from the start, the story just pulls you in with this, somber, but also kind of magical idea. We immediately meet our two main characters on this final journey, a child who's just passed on and an angel who's there to guide them. It really sets this gentle, thoughtful tone for the whole thing.
So this isn't just about flying up to the sky. No, the angel has a very specific and actually very beautiful mission to complete along the way. And this task, it's right at the heart of our story.
Okay, so here's the deal. This is the main rule of the story. The angel has to collect flowers that were really important to the child. But here's the twist. Only one of those flowers will be chosen by God, the one that pleases him best. That's the one that gets a voice to join the heavenly choir. So you see, the stakes are actually pretty high.
So, with that heavenly task all laid out, the angel gets to work gathering flowers. And at first the choices aren't, they're exactly what you would expect. But then, right in the middle of all this beauty, the angel makes a really strange choice. And that's what kicks off the central mystery of this story. As they're flying over all these places the child loved, they pass through these absolutely gorgeous gardens. The angel picks a few flowers, a beautiful rose bush, even though it's a bit broken, some sweet little buttercups, and some simple heartsease. Seems like a pretty good bouquet, right? And the child is probably thinking, okay, cool, we've got enough. But this is where everything changes. They leave those beautiful gardens behind and just stop, hovering over this really grim-looking city street. It's full of trash and junk. It's obvious the angel is not done, and this is the moment the whole story pivots. Just look at the contrast here. On one side, you have these beautiful flowers. On the other, total rubbish, broken plates, old rags, literal garbage. And right there, in the middle of all that junk, the angel points to this single, dead, withered little field flower. And that's his next choice. So this is the big question, isn't it? Why this flower? It's withered, it's forgotten, it's surrounded by trash. What could possibly make it special enough to be presented to God? The child has no idea, and the angel promises he'll explain everything as they keep going. Okay, so the answer to this whole mystery isn't really about the flower itself. It's about its history. The angel starts to tell a story about the simple, pure joy that this one withered flower brought to someone's life. So the angel begins this story about the flower's owner. It was a poor, sick little boy. His whole world was just a small, dark cellar, and he was so frail he could barely even walk with crutches. And this just lays out the flower's incredible journey. See, for this boy, that little plant was absolutely everything. A neighbor brought it to him, and he took care of it with everything he had. It was his garden, it was his treasure, it was his one connection to the world outside that cellar. He loved it so much. It was the very last thing he looked at before he died. And only then, only after he was gone, was it forgotten and thrown away. And right here, the angel just gets to the heart of it. He says the flower's true value was never about how it looked. Its real worth was measured by the incredible amount of happiness and comfort it brought to this one lonely, suffering child. More joy, he says, than even the most perfect flower in a queen's garden could ever give. The child, who's just like us at this point, is completely captivated by this story. And so he asks the obvious question, how on earth could the angel know all of this? These are really intimate details. How could he know what was in that little boy's heart?
And there it is, the big reveal, the absolute climax of the story. The person telling the story was the one in the story the whole time. The angel, he was that same little boy. He's come back, not just for the child he's carrying, but for his own most precious thing from his time on Earth.
So, with the mystery totally solved and the angel's real identity revealed, they finally arrive in heaven. The bouquet is now complete, and it's time for that final, all-important choice. Once they're in heaven, the flower's true value is finally recognized. God embraces the child and all the flowers they brought. But he only kisses one of them, that poor, withered field flower from the rubbish heap. And at his touch, it's given a voice, and it joyfully joins the choir of angels. Its real worth is finally seen by everyone.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? The story gives us this incredibly powerful new way to think about what value even means. It's telling us that the things that matter most aren't always the prettiest or the most perfect.
Instead, they're the things that are filled with the most love, the things that brought someone real, genuine joy.
And that leaves us with a final thought, something to really chew on. This story is kind of nudging us to look past appearances in our own lives, right? To see the history, the joy, and the love that makes the imperfect things we own truly priceless. So, what's your withered flower?